Are you looking for an easy opening without any deep theory? Then this video is definitely for you. Today I'll show you the easiest and most intuitive way of playing the Italian game. Italian game starts with next moves. Pawn e4 fighting for the center, pawn e5 doing the same thing, knight f3 attacking the unprotected pawn, knight c6 defending it, and bishop c4 just developing another piece. The main black's response in this position is bishop c5, which is called Gyuko piano game. However, there is also another option for black to play knight f6 in this position, which is called two knights defense. However, you don't need to worry about this move because in most cases, two knights defense will be transitioned to Gyuko piano game. Going back to this position, you might notice that we can already castle kingside. However, we won't do this because of one reason. We want to use our kingside pawns to attack our opponent's king in the future. Instead, if it's needed, we might castle queenside sometime later in our game. Having said that, in this position instead of castling, we will just continue developing. Knight c3. Our opponent plays f6, doing the same thing. We play d3, solidifying our center, and black does the same. In this completely symmetrical position, I suggest you playing this prophylactical move a3. This move has two ideas behind it. Firstly, if our opponent ever plays knight a5, wanting to trade his knight for our bishop, we can always retreat it to a2. We don't want to trade our powerful bishop for his knight, because this bishop pressures this weak pawn on f7, and in future it will be an important attacking piece. The second idea behind this move a3 is that it is just a waiting move. We are waiting to see what our opponent is going to do. If black now decides to castle, we can begin our attack. Bishop g5, pinning the black knight to the black queen. If black decides to do the same thing, we can jump our knight to the center of the board, putting more pressure to the pinned piece. If black decides to do the same thing, they're already lost. We take black knight with our knight with check, forcing black to take back with their pawn, which messes up the pawn structure in front of their king. We put our bishop on h6, and now if our queen somehow manages to get to the g7 square, it's gonna be a checkmate. Here black can try trading knights, we take back with our pawn, and now both black bishop and rook are hanging. Rook are hanging. Bishop retreats, and here we have three good moves. The first one is of course take this rook. We would be up material, we would win this game easily later, but in this particular case, trading your bishop for the rook isn't the best choice. Why? Because this bishop is just a monster in the black position, because it cuts off the only escape route for the black king. The second best move in this position is to give this check. Now the bishop can block, we can push our h-pawn with attention to trap it. Black moves his king to get out of this pin, so that if we push our pawn now, the bishop can take, but we sacrifice this pawn to open up the diagonal for our queen, black takes, and we trap the black bishop. However, the best move in this position is just astonishing. If you want to try to find this move by yourself, pause the video right now. And the best move is f4. A sacrifice of a full queen. Why would we do that? Firstly, if bishop goes to g6, we can just push our f-pawn forward and we trap this bishop. But if the bishop takes our queen, then it's mate in 4. Check, king goes here, check, king goes here, check from the rook. Bishop blocks, and that's checkmate. What if in this position black, instead of capturing our knight, tries to move his rook, so that it doesn't get captured by our bishop? Then we start a pawn storm. h3, kicking the bishop. Bishop goes back, and now g4, kicking the bishop once again. Bishop goes here, and now h4, continuing our pawn storm. And now we threaten to trap the bishop on the next move. Black can try this tricky move, queen d7. The idea of this move is that after we trap the black bishop, they take our g-pawn, we take their bishop, and here they win their piece back by capturing our knight. But that's their final mistake. Here we take the f-pawn with our bishop with check. The only move for black is king h8, and now we deliver this stunning pawn checkmate. What if here black, instead of pinning our knight, tries to kick our bishop back? Then we trade our bishop for their knight, luring the queen to f6. Then we jump our knight to the center of the board, hitting the queen and hitting the c7 pawn. Queen has to guard black pawn, so it retreats. And here black's pawn structure is pretty solid, and attacking the black king would be a bit hard in this position. So instead here we play c3, just preventing the black knight from ever coming to d4 or b4. Then we are going to put our queen to e2, long castle, and then start our pawn storm. And we don't start our pawn storm right now because we want to give our opponent a chance to make a mistake, to pin our knight with their bishop. Remember one thing: whenever you see your opponent pinning your knight, you can start your pawn storm. So here we play h3, and now g4. Now we play queen e2, getting ready to castle on and to bring our rook closer to the party. Black plays some random developing move, for example queen d7, connecting black rooks. We long castle. They play another developing move, for example rook e8, bringing the rook closer to the center. Now we play g5, opening up the opponent's king. They take us, we take back. They bring another rook closer to the center, ignoring our attack. We continue our pawn storm, h4. They bring their knight back closer to their king, and also they want to trade our powerful knight in the center of the board for their a bit passive knight. But we ignore it and continue our pawn storm, h5, hitting the bishop. Bishop goes back, and here we can even sacrifice our knight. The idea of this move is that if black accepts our sacrifice, we can go knight b6, attacking their queen, and also it is a discard check to the opponent's king. And black just ends up losing their queen and also the game. So here black is more likely to first trade the knights. We take back with our bishop, protecting our knight. Black goes king f8, getting out of the discard check. But now we bring our queen to f3. And now there is again a threat of the discard check, and black is just defenseless. Here black can also try going h6, preventing our bishop from pinning their knight, and now they're planning to castle the next move. Here we play h3. It seems to our opponent that we also prevent them from pinning our knight, but actually after they castle, we start the pawn storm, g4. They go bishop e6, wanting to trade our bishops, but we continue our pawn storm, g5. They take, we take, they trade bishops, we take back, and now our pawn structure is messed up a bit, but we don't care because we have a powerful attack. Black doesn't realize that we have a powerful attack, and they just play some random developing move, for example rook e8. Here we jump our knight to the center of the board, putting more pressure to the pinned piece. They try to do the same thing, but you remember that it is good only for us. We take their knight with our knight, with check. They take back, and we put our bishop to h6. They go king h7, kicking our bishop, and also they want to bring their rook to defense in the future. We trade our knight first, and now we protect our bishop with our queen. They take our b2 pawn, taking our rook, but we sacrifice it with the rook g1. They think that they can just take our rook, and now it's ladder checkmate. And finally, if our opponent, instead of castling kingside, decides to develop all his remaining pieces and castle queenside, we develop all of our remaining pieces too, and after he is castled, we start a pawn storm on the queen side. Something like this. And now let's summarize what we have learned. You need to remember two main ideas. The first idea is to pin your opponent's knight with your bishop and then add more pressure to it with your knight. And the second idea is the pawn storm. By the way, because of the fact that in the Italian game position is completely symmetrical, you can use these ideas both for black and white. I hope you have learned something new from this video. If you liked it, leave a like, and if you didn't like it, leave a dislike and write in comments what exactly you didn't like, and have a nice day.